10 years, John.
10 years.
Okay, stand by, please.
Welcome to Community Watch, and thank you for joining us. Today we have a special show about an artist who has been working in the Christian industry and Christian rap primarily for 10 years. And we'll talk all about his story right after this.
Your life is filled with opportunities to show the world you can take charge. It's waking up each day with a mission. It's working each day toward a goal. It's choosing to rise. It's charging forward with a purpose. It's changing the course of your life and taking charge of your future. If you're ready to be a take charger, enroll at Georgia Highlands College today.
Welcome to Community Watch. Greg,
Doc,
how you doing?
I'm living.
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah. I like this. This is nice.
Hey, I'm always trying to be like my mentor.
No. You're always sharp. Always sharp.
I have good mentors.
Well, I know this is a show you wanted to do, but I'm really interested in our guest and talking about what he's been doing.
You know, actually, Jai, it's his second time on the show.
I think it's number 3.
Is it number 3?
Yeah, we were talking
I
earlier.
know when he dropped his single, and I know he was on. I'm talking about he was on with Charles.
Yes.
But I'm talking about his second time just himself.
Okay.
What he's done.
Yes.
He was on with Mr. Charles Smith years ago. But it's always exciting for me to talk to local artists or local people in general who are doing things, because I think sometimes in our hyper social society, quote unquote, internet and content influencers, who people look at and watch sometimes is driven more by the hype than it is actual character. So when I'm able to always kind of touch bases with local people who are doing things that I think is great, that's very exciting for me.
Well, just talking to him a few minutes before we started the show today, he's a busy man. He's a very busy man. But we are going to have a really interesting discussion today with our guest, Jai Dowdy, who will be joining us right after this short break. So do not go away. We'll be back right after this.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we are very happy to have with us today Mr. Jai Dowdy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back, I should say. So we determined that this is your third appearance on the show.
Third appearance, second time by myself.
Second time by yourself.
How long has it been since that second time?
It's when you drop Good or Great.
Good or Great. Oh, wow. I don't know. What, 2016 maybe? Yeah, I think it's 2016.
So it's not as long ago.
Yeah, not that bad. Yeah, I think it's 2016.
So I know you've got a lot going on now that you want to talk about, but I thought it might be interesting to get a little history as well.
Okay.
You have been creating music for, I guess, professionally, we could say for 10 years?
No, longer than that.
Longer.
Yeah, I started doing music professionally in 1999, summer of 1999, early 2000.
Well, that's quite a long time ago.
Yeah, that's when I actually started and actually got into a real professional studio and
Yeah.
started traveling and doing like concerts and tours early. I was in high school. I was still like 17 maybe-ish. Let's give away my age, but it's okay. And it started then, and then I went to Jack State, and while I was in Jack State, I still was doing music and touring. So I would go to class Monday through Thursday. Friday morning, I would get picked up, and I would be in like Lexington, Kentucky, or Alabama, like a different part of Alabama, or anything like that. And then I would go back to school that Sunday. And
You know, it seems to me a pretty ambitious thing for someone in high school still.
yeah, yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Sometimes I wasn't getting home like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to be at school at 7:30, 8 o'clock. The next, like it was tough. But it was. I mean, you know, I always knew I wanted to do this. So like, as far as I can remember, as a child, like dancing in my mom's house to all the songs, and that's a little bit what Good or Great is about. It's about those earlier times of me just falling in love with hip hop music, and like I would get the CD cover and put the CD in and listen to it and read the credits and, you know, try to figure out what mixing and mastering mean. And, you know, I mean, I was just in it, and I spent hours just sitting beside my bed with the headphones on, listening to music. Like I always knew I was going to do it some kind of way.
But it does seem to me that getting to the point where you're actually in a recording studio in high school,
Yeah.
I mean, that's ambitious. That's putting together a career at a very young age, or that seems that way to me.
Well, actually, I don't disagree with you, but I think it's a difference between a professional studio and a studio, because in Rome we have quite a few studios. People say studios. And we have young men in high school who lay down tracks and they lay down things, but I think it's a different level.
Well, back then it wasn't. Like, you know, technology has advanced so much from then to now to, like, you really don't have to have much to do it now. But back then it was different. It was real hardware, soundproof booths, you know, and I was fortunate enough to get introduced to people like Charles Hudson and DJ Brad and, you know, and the Paradise Music. You know, they had a studio in there, and I recorded in there when I was in high school. And, you know, it was just, you know, I don't know, God just had me in a place to get trained and groomed by those guys early, to learn the craft and learn how to work hard. And, you know, they taught me everything I know right now, especially Charles. Charles is like everything. He taught me how to listen to the music, how to write the bars and count, how to perform on stage, how to, you know, I can hear a song right now and I know within the first 5 to 10 seconds exactly what route to go. But he taught me all of that way back then. And there was a difference than it is now. Now it's more microwave. It's more, you know, I can go buy equipment and have a song out by the end of the night. Back then it was time, you had to get groomed. You couldn't read your music off paper. You had to memorize it and then perform it. We had to run and work out and come back while you're tired and rehearse the whole set. And I had to learn where you would need to take a breath so I could say the word. And it's different now. Yeah, it's different now. Yeah, it's way different now.
Now, in knowing that, do you think it's you're a better artist because of that?
Yeah, by far. Like, I'm talking about, it's certain things that I still do to this day that I learned way back then that kind of put me ahead of people, you know, in a sense, because it's almost like tricks and secrets, like your mama recipe. You got to know exactly how much sugar to put in here. It's almost like that when I do music. And then if you take that away, I don't think I'm the caliber artist I am today without that knowledge and that training and that time of learning before you was actually put out, you know, because there was people ahead of me that had to come out before me, and in that time I was to sit under them like an understudy almost and learn, and then it was my time. Yeah.
Well, I wonder, given what you have gone through and what you're saying, if the young musicians, performers today are missing something important?
I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to say they are, because it's almost like when you look at LeBron James and you look at like Zion Williams, like they are elite athletes, and the average athlete is not made like them. Some artists are made that way. Some artists are just naturally good like that. So I don't know if they're actually missing something. I think that it just depends on who they are and the skill set they have, I will say.
Yeah. Well, catch us up a little bit with what's going on musically with you now.
Well, the first of the year, we let it be known that I signed a partnership deal with a record label called Bentley Records out of New York. Now, a lot of the work that I had to do to this point, you know, I have a team now to help me with that work. Also, we are rebranding the clothing line, so now everything is changing. It was like singers like this and everything, which we have these, and they are kind of like the archive type stuff. But everything now is going to have Walk by Faith on it, and that's the brand that we want to portray right now. That's something universal that everybody knows and can relate to. And now I'm getting ready to release my third album, first album on the label, and yeah, that's and also we have the 10-year celebration concert coming up as well on March 30th. I think that's going to be a kind of a celebratory night for me, you know what I mean? Because it's been a lot of work to this point.
Well, I want to hear more about that, but since we've been talking about your music, I'm curious what you would say has changed about your music over the years, or how you feel like you've grown or evolved.
I'm more conscious of social issues now, you know, more conscious. I try not to get in politics too much, but, you know, just stuff that's going on in the world now, I'm trying to implement that into the music now. I think I've just grown up as a person, as an individual. I think I just matured more as a man, as a husband, as a father, and overall as a minister. And I just think now that I'm able to kind of relate a message in a more seasoned way, that it relates to not only the young people, but it relates to, you know, other generations as well, older crowd as well. And I think that's the part of the music that's changed. And now I have more time to really sit and craft it and make sure everything is said the way that I want it to be said now. Yeah.
Now, it's interesting because you say, you know, you try to kind of stay away from politics, but can you?
it's put it like this, it's so far that I want to go with politics, you know. There's certain lines I don't want to cross with politics, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. You know, politics is a tricky place to be in when it comes to music and when it comes, period, you know, social media and everything like that. Politics is just, I don't know enough about it for me to really engage that much into it. I will speak on what I do know, but I don't really try to make a whole political song or a whole political album, you know what I mean? That's not my thing.
But with that, though, being a minister, and I guess, because you speak in universal to everybody, do you find yourself sometimes, I guess, conflicted about the things you see happening in the world from being a minister?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. Even in my neighborhood, you know, it's stuff that I see is conflicting. And for those issues, that's some things that I will talk about, you know, and try to bring it into a wider perspective, you know. But a lot of times what I see is, okay, when I was growing up in church, I'm what you call a drug baby. My mama drug us to church every time the doors open. It was 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. And I'm one of the people that was like, you know what? When I get older, I ain't going to church no more. When I get out of my mama's house, I ain't going. Well, it was so instilled in me that I end up keep going anyway. And, you know, lo and behold, I turned to a minister. Well, some of my generation actually did that. And so they've had children, and their children are outside now, and they've never been to church a day in their life. So my music speaks to that generation as well, to kind of give them a different perspective to look at life, because they've never had to ask God for nothing. They don't even know to ask him for anything. And so, you know, when you mix politics with that, you know, it's kind of a fine line to bring a broad perspective on both sides of that line, you know.
Well, we're coming up on our break here, but we've got a lot more to come, so please don't go away. We'll be right back.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're having a conversation with Dowdy about music and more. You mentioned your upcoming celebration concert.
Yes.
Give us some details about that.
All right, so March 30th, 2009, I went to a concert at my church, and they had an artist come by the name of T. Hattie. And, you know, I didn't know Christian hip hop existed. Okay, I'm just be real. I didn't know that it was a thing. I only heard of like one Christian artist, and I didn't think it was good. Like, I didn't think, like, what, Christian rap? I just didn't make sense at the time, right? And so I went to this concert, and I remember he came out, and he was rapping to a Lil Wayne beat, but he completely flipped it, and it had a different chorus and different words. And he was basically telling everybody, you know, God said you're worth more than $1 million. You know, and I remember like just looking at him like, And I remember turning around, I'm looking at the audience, and the audience was just having the time of their life. They was jumping up and down. They was just all into it. It was like a real live concert. And I remember thinking in there like, wow, I can do that, you know? Because at the time, I told you I started like in high school, but my music was not Christian. Let's be clear, nowhere near Christian. And so when I got saved and got into church, I thought my music career was over until that night. So when I left that night, that was March 30th, I went home and started working on my first project, which became Education and Music Part 1, my first mixtape. And so I wanted to re-celebrate that day, and now it's 10 years, and it's the same exact day that I actually wrote my first Christian song. And so we're having a big concert, and it's going to feature me and some other artists that do Christian rap, and some quartet singing, and I think some mime dancing. And it's just going to be a great night to just celebrate. And yeah, I made it 10 years. That's a good thing.
Now, you said that at the beginning of this 10-year period, there was a time when you thought music was over for you.
Yeah.
What, help me understand that a little better.
All right, so I didn't know about Christian hip hop, right? All I did was secular, what they would call street or gangster rap, quote unquote, you know. And so when I decided to give my life to Christ, I didn't know I could rap anymore for him. You know, I didn't know Christian hip hop was a thing at all. And so when the guy came doing Christian hip hop, that was like I can rap. Like, okay. So that's how my clothing line started, because I started focusing on clothes because I didn't think I could rap. And then it kind of went to the back burner once I figured out I could rap again. And so I started doing music.
Now that's interesting to me on several levels, because it makes me wonder if there is there no place in between Christian rap and gangster rap for music to exist?
I think it is. They call it conscious rap or positive rap. Me, I just don't think that's the type of rap I do, you know, so I didn't really dabble in it too much. But I think it is a place that where they're not considered Christian, but they're not considered gangster either. You know, it's just that what they would call positive music. But you know, me personally, you know, I just want to shed light to Christ. So I don't really consider myself a positive rapper. I would just consider myself a kingdom rapper or a Christian rapper. Yeah.
Now, Johnny, you said March the 30th, but you didn't give us the details. Time?
Oh, March the 30th at Hosea Sinai Baptist Church, which is 1223 Martin Luther King Boulevard. The doors open at 3:30, but the concert will start around 4, and it's free. Bring everybody, come on, come out, have a good time. Welcome everyone.
Now, I guess with this concert, you're celebrating 10 years, but have you seen in those 10 years where Christian, I guess, hip hop, Christian rap has grown?
Yeah.
Has taken?
Yeah. If you look at artists such as Flame, which has Cliffside Music, you look at artists such as Young Noah, who has Dirty Work Music, you look at artists such as Lecrae, who has Reach Records. Like Lecrae has sold out the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in those 10 years. Like that's unheard by himself. Not know he's a part of it. This is his concert. He sold out the Kodak Theater in Los Angeles, and the last person to do it was like Jay-Z. So like it's went from state tours to global tours. They are over in like New Zealand and in China and places where Christianity really isn't welcome. Like they're selling out shows and stuff like that. So, and then we get into films and things of that nature too, and like clothing lines and brands of that. That's huge in Christian world. And outreach ministry has blown up with artists coming together to give back into the community. So that's a huge thing too within the Christian field. When you look at people like Scott Free and City Takers and Philip and Carrie Edge and the work that they're doing, and Tommy Kalani, aka Urban D, who has like the first urban hip hop church. And it's like for the younger generation, and it's just a free for all. And then you look at Canton Jones with his Free Life Church. And so not only has it grown from music and videos to now we're getting nominated, like Lecrae won 2 Grammys. So now you get nominated for Grammys, and then they're selling out global tours, and now they're opening up churches, and now people are getting saved, and they're doing things to give back into the community. So yeah, within those first time of me learning about it to now, all that's taking place. And it didn't start out that way.
It's interesting because actually my brother, and he's like 9 years older than me, so he's much older than you.
Okay.
He actually did Christian rap. This is in the 80s.
Wow.
In the 80s, this is doing the thing. And I still have some of his original songs that he wrote. Because he loved rap, he loved hip hop. And this was back in, the early days, pioneer days. But it just was so, I think it was 1 or 2 people that may be on like a local radio station every once in a while, but it clearly was not a market for it at that time, because hip hop itself was still very young and in its infancy. But it's just amazing that, that over the years, that hip hop has found a voice, because for me personally, I think that's one of the things the church have struggled with.
Yeah.
Is being relevant to a younger generation who, they're not attending the churches of their grandparents. They want a different type of church. Yeah. And they're looking for a different type of service and a different type of music. And I just think over the years, that's been one of the things that traditional black churches primarily have struggled with. And we know the numbers that young black people are not attending church nowhere near they did in previous years. Yeah. And I do think that's part of it, is because being able to reach them in a language and in a medium that they find welcoming to them. And so that's interesting, but I guess that the moon is still to be reached, because it's a lot more to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall is unity. I think the focal point of church needs to shift a little bit, because like you said, the average guy, let's just say Rome, the average guy is not finna wake up after partying all night or whatever he did the night before if he don't normally go to church, and then that's the thing on his mind is to go to church, right? So let's just take South Rome. It's 9 churches in South Rome surrounding South Rome.
Wow.
What would happen if all 9 churches said, they came in, they did praise and worship or whatever, and they say, all right, get your stuff, we're going outside? simultaneously and just love on the people. Don't preach to them. Don't open your Bible. Don't say, you know, the Bible says what. Just ask the people, what is it you need? What can I pray for you? Can I do something to help this community? And that be the focal point. We don't see that. But if that happens and the young people do get involved and they feel like, okay, they care about us, when they come to church, what are we going to do? If they decide to say, okay, you know what? I like that. I like what he was saying. He made a lot of sense. I'm going to go see him Sunday. If he walked in, is it something that's going to be intriguing for his young mind? Or is it going to be the same old way we've been doing church for the last 30 years? That's the question. And that's the shift that needs to take place to get the young people involved. Because we could put on a hip-hop concert here on a Friday night, but if they come Sunday and they don't see no resemblance of that hip-hop concert, they're not coming back. So we need some type of part of the service or another separate place in the service that caters to them, and then you can have over here that caters to the normal. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's different ways that we can look at it and things that we can do, but I think that needs to be the focal point of us. It's you know, the gospel is like a government, and certain mountains that we have to take over in this government, and that's one of the mountains of media and entertainment to get the young people involved and at least get them talking about Christ, right? And a lot of times we're so focused on getting them in the house, they're not comfortable coming in church for the first time and don't know nobody in here. They're not prone to really tell you what's really going on. But if I went to his door and sat on his porch, eventually he's gonna tell me what's going on in his comfort zone. You see me? Yeah. So we gotta get out of the mind frame of in this building, because we are the church as people. Like here right now, I'm the church. And on this TV show, I'm the church. In Walmart, I'm the church. So if I'm in the neighborhood, I'm the church. I don't necessarily have to be inside this building. And I think the mindset could shift in us as Christians a little bit and start to cater to those individuals who are not prone to come in and go out to them, because Matthew 28 told us to go. Then I think we could see a change in the way that the young people react to church.
So so with that you say, and I agree. So is that kind of the focal point or the focus point of your music? Is an outreach ministry to those that are, I guess, on the outside of the church?
Yeah, I mean, and that's not even just the music. That's just my heart. Like, even if I wasn't doing music, that's still the focus. Like, even right now, we're starting a nonprofit right now for those purposes, is on how to engage in community, how to be a service to the community without actually preaching to them and trying to get them to come and join the church. You know, like right now, I know for a fact right now that South Rome wants the overhead like East Rome have over their park. So now my focus now is how do I find the funding to make that happen for them? It ain't come to church, read it, like, no, we'll get to that later. You know what I mean? I want to love on you and serve you as the community and help you grow as a community. And the love of Christ that I'm showing you will show you his love, and eventually the door will open for me to share Christ.
We're needing to take another break here, but we will be back with more. Do not go away.
$145 over 92.
180 over 111.
I had a heart attack, a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from invisible or silent. Get back on your plan, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We've been having a conversation with Jai Dowdy about his music, about an upcoming concert that will be March 30th. Doors open at 3?
3:30.
3:30.
Yes, sir.
At, what is the name of the church?
Hosea Sinai Baptist Church.
Okay. And you can find out more about Mr. Dowdy's music and other activities at jaidowdy.com. Thank you for being with us, and thank you. We'll see you next time on Community Watch.